This video is to show an example of estimating a sum of three numbers that have a lot of decimals. So the three numbers I'm going to work with are 1 and 45 hundredths, 92 hundredths, and 37 thousandths. So for technique 1, first thing I like to do is to write the three numbers vertically, lining up all of the decimal places. And as I do that, I'm going to put placeholders, and so I'm going to change colors for the placeholders. So I'm going to put placeholders in the thousandths place, the first two numbers, just so all the decimal places line up. Because one of the things that I'm going to start with is to decide what level I'm going to round to. And for technique 1, I'm looking at the largest number and its largest place value, in this case the ones place. So I'm going to go ahead and underline the ones place in each of these three numbers. And as I start rounding, I'm going to look at the digit right after the ones place, in this case the tenths place. And in that first number, the 4 is less than 5, so I will round down and leave the 1 in the ones place. I'll leave that a 1. But in the next number, the 9 is 5 or greater, so I'm going to raise the 0 in the ones place up to 1. And in the third number, the 0 in the tenths place is less than 5, so I'm going to leave the 0 in the ones place as a 0. What's great sometimes about technique 1 is what you end up with looks way easier than the original, and you say, cool, 1 plus 1 is 2. So now for technique 2, I have exactly the same three numbers that I'm starting with. And so once again, I'm going to line them up vertically, putting the place values all in a line. Again, I'm going to go ahead and put out placeholders. But now, to decide what place value to round everything to, I'm going to look at the smallest number and its largest place value. And at first glance, it looks like the ones place is again the left end of that number, but we disregard the leading zeros, the 0 here and the 0 here. I don't count those, and the highest place value of that number is the hundredths place. So all three of these numbers are going to be rounded to the nearest hundred. Now the first two numbers really ended in the hundreds place originally. You know, I put those extra blue zeros in there just as placeholders. So in a sense you can just think that if I'm rounding something that's already ending in that place value, you don't need to do anything. But if I'm just going to go the way I have been, and that is to look at the next digit. Whoa, that should have been green. There we go. Look at the next digit and decide whether it's 5 or greater or less than 5. If I go with that way of rounding, in the first number the 0 is less than 5, so I leave what I had. I round down to 1.45. And the next number, the next digit is a 0. Again, I leave the number alone. I round down to 0.92. But in the last number, the next digit's a 7, and so I round that 3 up to a 4. So I have 0.04. Now this happens sometimes, that what I've got after I round isn't a whole lot easier than what I had to begin with. That happens sometimes, but I go ahead and add it up. 5 plus 2 is 7. Plus 4 is 11, carry the 1. I'm going to add out of order. I'm going to say 1 plus 9 is 10, plus 4 is 14. And I get 2.41 for my estimate.